Hello, welcome to Introduction to Databases and SQL. In this session, we are going to discuss about JDBC with MySQL, Java database connectivity with MySQL database management system. And here specifically, we see the environment setup. Let's begin. So before we start, we will understand what is JDBC. So here we are going to connect a Java program with our database management system, which is MySQL, which we have already learned about. So now let's understand what is JDBC. By acronym, it is Java Database Connectivity. JDBC is a Java-based access technology from Oracle Corporation. You know, Java is now owned by Oracle Corporation. And it provides a technology such that from Java program, we can connect to any of the database management systems. And here we are going to use MySQL. And this JDBC has an API, application programming interface, that has so many classes and interfaces defined and which have several methods by using which we can access the database. And we can actually create databases, we can create tables, we can insert data, update data, and we can query the data. So this is how it will be. So from Java application, you will issue commands, SQL commands to your MySQL database, and you can actually retrieve some data by using the SQL query. Okay, so that's about the JDBC API, which is the combination of several classes and interfaces. And there was some history when it was actually started, what was earlier. So before JDBC, we have ODBC, Open Database Connectivity. We used to do that to connect to any database management system, whether it is traditional DBMS or non-traditional DBMS. Non-traditional in the sense like MS Access from Microsoft. So ODBC was the default option for that. Later, when Java has come into the picture and Sun Microsystems is the original owner of Java, they actually started JDBC driver, and which can connect to the ODBC and then to access the DB. So that was some history. And it has happened in 1997. Java has come up in 1995. And the API, whatever the JDBC API, is available in two packages in Java. One is java.sql and javax.sql. Java X for enhanced or advanced. Okay, so this is how it will be. So you write a Java program and use the API. The API means set of classes and interfaces, and we use the methods of those. And then we have a driver manager which manages the drivers. For example, I want to connect to Oracle. I require a driver to connect to Oracle. I'm connecting to SQL Server. I require another driver. And if I'm connecting to MySQL, I require another driver. Okay, so in fact, from a single program, you can connect to a number of database management systems. Oracle, DB2, MySQL, SQL Server, etc. and etc. And this will be the flow actually. So from Java program, you use certain methods and interfaces, classes, where you write some queries to interact with the database. For that, you require a translator, that is the driver. A JDBC driver is just like a translator. So your Java program now has to speak with database management system. Database management systems understands only SQL, right? But those SQL queries I am writing in Java. So there should be some software, some interface that understands what you're writing in Java, and it should tell the DBMS. So this is what is required, and vice versa. So that's where the driver comes into the picture. Yeah, so something like this. So you will have your Java application, the program, and you will have a driver, and this driver converts your Java code to the SQL and SQL back to your Java. Okay, so this is the 3-tier nature, and you can actually, this is a 2-tier, and you can also have a 3-tier thing actually. So you can actually in turn connect to some application server in between, and then you can go to the database, depending upon your uh, application, whether it is 2-tier or 3-tier or a multi-tier. So what is Java API? It is a set of classes as part of the JDK, Java Development Kit, which has methods. Those methods are used to interact with your database. And for that, you require in between a driver. So driver is again a software actually. So what are different drivers which we have? So JDBC defines 4 types of drivers: type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. So type 1 is very old one. In the beginning in 90s, we used to have that. And later, now everybody goes with thin driver. That is a fully Java driver. It is fully written in Java. And it's a thin driver actually. So you don't require some interface in between other than the driver. Whereas rest all, you need to have some other component in between. Okay, so of course, there are 4 drivers. So these drivers will actually take SQL commands from the Java program and convert them to the database specific and vice versa. So Java program to SQL and SQL back to Java program. So that's the purpose of the driver, and the driver we need to install separately to work with. So let me quickly go through different types of drivers here. So this is first one, JDBC ODBC bridge driver. So here we will have the JDBC ODBC bridge driver, and it is actually speaking to the ODBC driver. So you have a third component in between. So from your application to the database, you will have another component. So this JDBC ODBC bridge driver will speak with ODBC driver, and this ODBC driver is responsible actually to speak with these databases and make the things happen. So coming to the native API driver. So here there is no bridge. There is a JDBC driver that is actually called partly Java driver. And so there is a native database library. So each database has its own database library, and it communicates with this native database library, and that actually converts your Java program commands to the database and vice versa. So coming to the type 3, we have a network protocol driver, and it is fully written in Java, but only thing is it actually communicates with the third layer, that is the middleware. So from the JDBC driver, you will connect actually to some middleware. From there, you will actually connect to the database. So that's why we call this as a JDBC net driver. So directly it is not speaking to the database through some application server, it speaks. Through some server, it speaks. And the default and most of the applications use this thin driver straight away. And otherwise, we can say this is the de facto standard. And here it directly speaks with the database. So it's called thin driver because it will not actually speak with anybody else in between. Directly convert JDBC calls to the vendor specific database protocol. So what you require is, so if there is a database, you require the JDBC driver from that particular database. They should provide you the driver. So if I am using MySQL, so I have to go to the MySQL and I have to download this type 4 driver for that particular MySQL. If it is Oracle, I have to download and install that particular driver. So the driver is vendor specific here, and directly we can speak with. So this is what we will be using in our applications, and mostly all applications also will use type 4 only. So even though you have type 1, type 2, type 3, so the type 4 can directly speak to the databases, and the databases are providing straight away your driver. So you just install it and you can actually carry out the work. Okay, so here we are also going to use the type 4 driver. Okay, so this is about the drivers and brief description about the JDBC. So the point here is, if at all you want to work with JDBC and any database management system, either MySQL or Oracle, you need to have an API that actually comes along with your Java. Whenever you download your SDK or JDK, you will get that API, which is available as part of two packages, java.sql and javax.sql. Then you require a driver. The driver you have to download and install. Okay, then you have to set up the project, include the driver. So that actually I have explained over here. So let's see JDBC with MySQL, the environment setup. So JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity, and we have to set up this JDBC with MySQL. So we are connecting to the MySQL, and JDBC has an API which has classes and interfaces by using which we will connect. Okay, so in order to do this, so it involves few steps actually. So first step, you need to have the database management system. So let's have MySQL, and of course we have MySQL, and we have almost around some 20 videos on MySQL and how we can interact. All that stuff we have discussed. So we have MySQL already. If you haven't installed, so you have to install from MySQL website. You can actually go to MySQL, then MySQL community server you can download and you can use it. That is the first step. And we have the MySQL running actually. So let me actually show you that. So I can just say MySQL here. Yeah, I have MySQL command line client available, and I can give my root, and I'm into MySQL. Okay, so now I can actually see the databases. So these are the databases. Few of them I have created, and few of by default they will come. Right. So we have the MySQL ready. Yeah. Step 2, create a MySQL database. So of course we have the databases which are available. So we have SampleDB, MyDB. Okay, Sys, of course not Sys, World. These are all the databases which are available. So we are ready with that. The third is download MySQL JDBC driver. So now we have to download type 4 driver, because type 4 is the de facto standard now. That JDBC driver we need to download, and where we have to download is a vendor specific. So I want to connect to MySQL. I need to download from MySQL only. Okay, so the driver usually is a jar file. Jar means Java archive. So it will be having the extension JAR, and the jar file, whenever we unzip it, you will get all the .class files. Okay, so we have to go to the official MySQL website and we have to do that. And let me show you how we can do that. Yeah, so I'm just going over here, and I can actually say Java MySQL driver. Otherwise, here already it has come up Java MySQL connector. So you can actually go to MySQL developer zone, and here you can actually say download connector J. Download connector J. So now here connector slash 8.1.0. So that is the latest one actually. So you select any of these things and you can actually download. So I have already downloaded that. It's there in my downloads. Yeah, I can actually show you somewhere here. Yeah, so I have this one got downloaded already. So MySQL connector J, and it's available in my downloads. Okay, so you need to download this. Okay, just have the jar file, nothing you need to do. Let's have the jar file, unzip it. So when you unzip, you will have the folder coming up, and from that folder you need to take up that. See here, I have unzipped it somewhere. I have 8.0 is available, 8.1 is also available. For example, if you go inside, this is a jar file. Yeah, so you will get this jar file. If you go inside, you will get this jar file. Okay, after unzipping, you go inside, you will get that jar file. So that jar file is what we require. See, for example, here, if you go inside, yeah, this is what I have downloaded, right? 8.1.0. So I have my jar file. So this is what important for me. Okay. Yeah, so MySQL is also available now. MySQL JDBC driver is also available. And then step 4, set up your Java development environment. Now we have to write our, we have to set up our Java. So do you have Java? Yes, definitely. You know, to work with JDBC, you require Java, right? Okay, so now how to find whether Java is there or not? So let's actually go to your command prompt. And from the command prompt, you just say Java C, because you require a compiler, Java C hyphen version. And if it is there, it will give you the version. So Java 17, that is a stable version. And Java is both compiled and interpreted. You need to check for the interpreter also. So Java C is Java compiler and Java is the interpreter. And of course, I have both available. So JDK is there with me. That's why I have both Java compiler and Java interpreter, both are available. So the environment is there. The environment is there. So I just have to write the program, link my JDBC driver, and I have to execute it. Okay, so while using that, what actually you can do is you can straight away use the Sublime Text to write your Java programs, JDBC programs. Otherwise, it's preferable to use any IDE at this stage. Whenever you are working with the databases and servers, you always can get best utility of the IDEs. What is an IDE? IDE is actually integrated development environment, which has so many features, auto compiling, and then setting up the servers and databases in a quick fashion and configuring them. So many benefits are there with IDEs. And in order to do with Java, you have four popular IDEs are there. So one is Eclipse, IntelliJ IDEA, and you have NetBeans. I haven't mentioned over here. Yeah, here I mentioned. You have the NetBeans, and of course we have the Visual Studio Code as well, and the IntelliJ IDEA. Yeah, so these are the four popular and contemporary IDEs for writing Java applications. So JDBC is a Java application, so you can actually go for any of these IDEs. So I have both now. I have NetBeans as well as Eclipse. And of course, I can connect from VS Code as well. Okay, so, but we will actually stick to one, and then we go ahead with these JDBC programs. And finally, you have to create a Java project, add this driver which you have downloaded, that jar file, to our project, such that we can actually write our JDBC applications. So this is the theory part, and let's actually see. So what I'm going to do is, first I will actually start with the NetBeans. So here I have Apache NetBeans 14. And of course, I also had Eclipse actually. So let me go with Eclipse. I will show you both in Eclipse as well as NetBeans. Okay, so by the time Eclipse sets up, so let me actually open my NetBeans. This is the Eclipse. So you want IDE, you just download Eclipse or you just download NetBeans. Nothing you need to do. So only thing you have to do is, before you download Eclipse or NetBeans, you should have Java download already. Either Java 11 or Java 17 and the latest Java 20. So whatever. So you have to download them. Okay, this is my Eclipse. So my Eclipse has started up fast. Usually it is than NetBeans. So NetBeans is actually a bigger bundle. So let's wait for the NetBeans to start up. So NetBeans has additional capabilities than the Eclipse. You can actually see the database structure, everything over here. Okay, this is my Eclipse and my NetBeans is getting set up. Yeah, it's ready. And of course, I have created already a JDBC app, but now I will create once again. So because I need to tell you about the setup. So what I need to do is just go to a new project, and we will actually have a Java project. pure Java application only. Okay. Yeah, so it's running up. It's setting up JDBC. This time I say demo. My app is a demo. So I don't want any main class to be created. Just finish it. So when it finishes off, you will have this one. You have a default package and you have libraries. So by default, NetBeans checks actually for the Java environment at the time of installation only. So that's why I told before you install NetBeans, you should have the Java already installed. That is the first step. Then you have to go for IDE. And it actually checks for the Java availability and automatically it builds the path. So next thing what I need to do is here, I can actually write my Java classes here. So let's say JDBC test. So this is my Java class where I'm checking for my JDBC connection. So let's say finish. Yeah, so this is how the NetBeans create my Java class. And in order to work with JDBC, you require Java JDBC API. JDBC API. So JDBC API is the combination of java.sql or Java and or. So you want both, you can actually have Java x.sql. This is important. So now what I'm doing, I'm importing that I want that API, right? So import. So I say here java.sql dot star. So everything of Java SQL is going to be used now. So Java, you require a main method. So I'm creating the main method here. Okay. So now, so there are different steps actually to connect to the JDBC program to MySQL. Okay. So for that, what you require is actually a driver. For that, you require a driver, right? So where is the driver, right? So driver has to be configured. So how to do that is, so if you click on these libraries, you click on these libraries, and now you have to say add jar or folder because I need to have that JDBC driver, right? Add jar or folder. So now I have my MySQL connector J in my downloads, and this is my jar file, and I open it. So when you open it, so now this was configured to your application. Your JDBC demo application was configured with your driver. Okay, you have Java and you have MySQL driver. So now you can actually connect with your database. Okay, so in the NetBeans, we have one more facility here. So these are the projects and these are the files, and you have services also. In the services, we can actually see what database we are already connected with and how to connect. So here, I have already connected. I have already connected with MySQL. So now let's say root and root. Yeah. So now I can actually see other databases as well. See, I have information schema, MyDB, SampleDB, sysworld. So this is what actually you can see also here. Right. So in the NetBeans, what you can do, you have this option like services, where all the databases and all your servers which are connected, you can actually see here. So of course, here I can see what are the servers I was connected. I have a Tomcat, which was already configured. This is a web server. So here I can actually go to my MyDB and you can actually see what are the tables. So for example, I have the customers table and I can click on this and you can view data. And here, this is the data that particular customers table is having. Okay, if you actually gone through the previous videos, you will understand this table we have worked with actually, right? So in the NetBeans, you have the facility to view your database which you have connected. Okay, so how to connect? Simply what you need to do is, if at all you want a new connection, you just say new connection and with the driver. So if you want to connect to MySQL, so MySQL, and then you have to say next. And so what is the username and password of that particular database which you are going to connect? So this thing you have to do initially, then that will appear over there. Okay. So yeah, so this is one way you can actually see user interface. Otherwise, straight away, what you can do, you can actually straight away write your Java application. Okay, so whatever I have shown earlier in the services, you need not to do actually. So if you connect, you can see the whole database. Every time you need not to go over here and check whether table is created or not. So you can actually check everything from the IDE itself. If you make a connection here. Okay, otherwise, let's not worry, just write a program and whatever the connection you want to do, you make it. And to check whether it got updated or not, you have to go to your database and you have to check it. Okay, so of course you will understand this thing. Let's not get confused actually. Okay, so now how to connect to database. So this thing is actually having a good number of steps actually. So those steps I will explain in the next session. Okay, this is just a configuration. How environment has to be set up. What you require. You require Java, you require MySQL, you require a JDBC driver, and how you can add to this. So that's what I'm going to show you. So if at all you want to see whether it is working or not, so let me actually just show you an example which I'm already having. Okay, so this is what I have written. So I don't want to go to these all details because this will be a next session because we have to thoroughly understand this. So just to show you that it works, then I just run file and I can see that whenever the connection is established, I have to say that connection established. Yeah, you can see connection established. This is what actually happening. So this is what we have to understand. This is very, very important. How you can actually connect it to database. What are the steps? But this session, we are concentrating only on environment setup. Right? Okay, so now let me actually open my Eclipse also. So Eclipse, you can actually see like this. So here also, I have actually configured. So I have two apps. One is my Java app, where I have so many things I have written. So of course, I have a package called JDBC. Here I have written JDBC test again, and I have written the code to connect. And if you see here in this app, I have reference libraries. In my reference libraries, I have my MySQL connector J added. This is what you need to do. You require Java, you require MySQL, and you require a driver. Only these three things. Later, you create project wherever you wish, whether it is NetBeans or Eclipse or VS Code or IntelliJ. These three things must be there for JDBC to work. You require a RDBMS, that is MySQL. You require Java, which contains Java API, and you require the driver, which connects Java to your MySQL. Okay, so this is the configuration. So if at all you want to see whether this will work or not, I can actually run this, run as a Java application. Yeah, connection established. Fine, but how it works is actually a big discussion. So that we'll actually do on next session. So in order to set up environment for JDBC, you require a database, you require JDK to be installed, Java to be available, and you require a JDBC driver. So these three are essential. And later, which IDE you use is up to you. Okay, so I have both options, NetBeans and Eclipse available. So because in NetBeans, we can see database there itself. You need not to go again back to MySQL. So I prefer for JDBC going with NetBeans. Okay, sometimes I can explain in MySQL Eclipse also for understanding of the both IDEs. Okay, so that's all for the environment setup, and see you in the next session where we will connect to the database. Thank you.